And once again, it's raining, as it always is on this server. Hello everybody, this is KM030, and I want to show you some updates that we've made to the arena. We did some playtesting today, and filled out the middle, and there's some improvements we want to make to it. First of all, these are working well. I added glass in, which lets you see the starting zones. You see we've added a lot of terrain here. Added a river that runs through the area. This kind of pit that's got slow sand in the bottom, which means you can do some sniping from here, but if you get knocked back, you're into slow sand and then you might be ambushed. Added a lot of grass to kind of fill it out a little bit. Trees. The trees are actually very specifically placed so that you can still see the indicator lights for each person when you're inside the building. So kind of this broken down building. This is really cool. There's a sniper post here, but there's a lot of easy ways in. You can't actually get out from this direction. So if somebody were to sneak up behind you, you've actually got no way to run, nowhere to go. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's kind of funky. Might clean that up a bit. More trees, another little, divider so that you don't, less line of sights. We were worried that this was actually a little too big, but once we did a few rounds of the game in here, and it didn't turn out to be an issue. Was doing some construction underneath and had that cave in. It's a long ladder all the way to the top, but once you're up, then it's a nice sniper post. And then there's an interior level as well with a shorter run, so you got a little bit better chance of getting there if you're under fire. And the walls, which actually also were not up at the time, are, let's see if I can show you. Per section they drop down one, so it actually introduces this little curve. So it's boxed in. It's too high at the minimum level, so you still can't get out. It's over here, but it's not closed in. It actually feels like it's pretty open, which is nice. I really am pleased with this design, actually. Took a while. I tried a bunch of different ones. Now outside, I also put a box in to indicate, and a light. I'm not sure if I had that set up at the time. That is triggered off of the back pistons here. So whenever that door is closed and the player is ready, then this lights up. So you may be wondering what those different woods are. We've got Team Birch, Team Jungle, Team Pine, and Team Oak. So basically these houses are set up, and each one is using the different woods which are available. So I thought that was kind of cool. Also put in this ring of fences and path, which is very handy for keeping creepers away. However, if you stand here and a creeper walks up, he'll still detonate. So we're actually going to turn this into a larger part of a kind of a developed community, so not a problem. But one thing we did run into is that, as simple as this is, literally this button is tied to this button, and all it does is trigger the outside door, and when you're ready to play, it triggers the ready signal, which, as we saw in the previous video, opens all 4 doors. That was still a problem at the end of the round. Well, there were 2 problems. One, at the end of the round, people wanted to rush in and go get their gear. I have this emergency hatch door built, which is a pain, as iron doors usually are, but it allows, I kind of hit it. This is actually a custom built tree that I made to hide this, so it's kind of hidden in the corner. So this is like an emergency escape hatch if something goes wrong and you just need to bail on the round. So come on, fracking lag, jeez. Okay, and not that either. But so everyone was using this, and it was a little annoying. So what we wanted was a kind of end of round open all doors thing. So a switch here that then goes and opens all the doors all the way through. Now this isn't wired up completely yet, but this will not affect the door. And what I wanted to do was to affect both. So with that on, let's go take a look at the circuitry here. Now this is the maintenance hut. This leads down into the circuitry. And I'm probably going to place a couple boxes with redstone and stuff in here. That switch triggers off of here to a vertical inverter, which is a double inverter. So you get the, if that's on, this is on. And we're going to go down here. I've made a slight modification to this circuitry. When this is on, this used to just tie right into this block and activate it and trigger the door. But I wanted it to be a native off state, so I lowered it by 1, added another inverter, and tied it in here with another inverter here. So double inverter means that the exact same effect happens on this circuit, but on this circuit, as you can see, it doesn't quite reach far enough. So let us add a repeater, not bread, repeater. And now, if we go take a look, I can get out of here. There we go. These doors are so glitchy, especially when the rain's going. It's terrible. Now I should have a clear path all the way straight into the arena, which is what we want. At the end of the round, we want to be able to have everyone come in here, you know, do their thing, and then go back out. So that is good. I'm still not sure about the torches. I like them, but we may do some light hiding in here. So, and this button, while it does trigger the ready button on and off, when all gates are... Why didn't it... Oh, because it's wired to the door. Never mind. Those lights won't work when the doors are... Yeah, okay, never mind. Because they're tied to these pistons, those lights won't work as well. But it basically, this is a kind of kill switch to shut off the machine, to shut off everything and just open all the doors, let everybody in or out. So I figure that's handy. So what we need to do is this signal needs to now be wired to go down to the rest of the mechanisms. And actually what I'm going to have to do as well is go in here and modify each one of these to add the inverter, the double inverter. Modify that circuit, which is actually a very, very slight modification, especially here, because I also don't need the path underneath to get out of the maintenance shed. So just a slight inverter, have the signal line run back down here and open this up. And actually, I was just thinking I might be able to save some time and run this. See, this is a return signal out of here, but what I could do is tie it somewhere in here onto the return catch, which is here. Let me trace this back. We've got the AND, let's mark it out. We've got the AND switch, we got the AND, which goes into here, and then this circuit goes everywhere else. So what we actually really want to do is tie it into here somehow. So, and I'm going to guess that these repeaters are spaced out a little too far, but that would make it really easy. That would mean... See, but that's... Okay, never mind. That's not going to make a difference anyway, because we're still going to have to run lines for the doors. I was thinking, you know, maybe let's save a bunch of redstone and not have to worry about it, but I'm still going to have to run an independent signal line for this. So, never mind. Derp. We won't worry about it. It's all right. So, I'm going to make those modifications under here and probably do that off camera because that's boring. Actually, I dropped some pumpkins in here a while back so I could figure out which was the exit, which is that one. See, I went the wrong direction. So I'm going to run this line out and then run it back down each one. The other thing that we ran into, which I'm not really... Oh, come on. I'm kind of less pleased about, but it's a player proofing, is that we needed a mechanism to prevent false starts. So what we want to do, effectively, is when all of these, at the end of the round and preparing for a new round, people are opening and closing doors. And ideally what you want to do is have all the doors start open. And then as people fill out, they go in and close their doors when they're ready. Only problem is that everybody exits through death or the emergency hatch, and then the doors are already all closed, and one person exits and enters, and then you get that. So they close their hatch, and then the hatch is immediately open, and everyone's seemingly ready to go, and they rush out ready to go into battle and realize that nobody else is on the map. So what we need is a mechanism that goes and resets each of these doors. So that way there could be like an end of round button that you flip, and what it does is it goes and sends a signal, say from here, I'll put it here, and then here's the interesting part of the circuitry, if the door is closed, open it. But don't just toggle, oh crap, stupid block lag. But don't just toggle it, because say if two of the doors are open and two doors are closed and you just have a toggle, then, well, you know, everything's going to toggle here, and certain doors will open, the other ones will close, and you still have the same problem. So the idea is still kind of generating in my mind. I'm kind of figuring this out on the fly. But what I want is a pulse. I want a button there that goes down into here, and let's see here. It's going to have to interact with this circuit, so I'm going to have to dig outside here and run it. But if this is on, don't do anything, or do something. So tie it into an AND. So the pulse comes here, ties into an AND, that if this is lit and so is the pulse, then it goes back and triggers the piston from back here. So it's going to be an extra little circuit here that then ties back to a single line that's going to run down here. So, and now I'm just realizing that for simplicity, I should have probably, no, I got to run them both anyway, so it doesn't matter. Either way, I'm running larger lines out here, so I'm going to work on that off camera and check back in when I've made some progress. And a mere 6 or so hours later, I've managed to get this working. Now you'll see all of these doors are, everybody's gates are open in kind of a preparing to battle mode. So, for example, this would be the status as people were preparing to battle. And that's actually what we want at the start of a round. But say one of these doors is closed, say all of them are closed, and somebody enters here and thinks they're ready to go, and you know, I'll show you. Hold on. Let's run over here. Let's set this up to how it would be at the end of a round. So what happens? All of these doors are triggered into the ready mode, which opens the internal doors. And we'll go around here and reset this one. And one more. Payoff's worth it, believe me. So all the internal doors will now be open. So people battle, whatever, they die, and then say people want to get in, say people want to get ready for the next round. So somebody goes in here, they're the first one to arrive, and they press the button, and then they see, oh crap, are we going? Oh, okay, let's play. And then they realize that nobody else is in the arena. So we've got a false start situation here. So to remedy that, say it's like that. To remedy that, if I press this, actually, you know what? I'll leave this one as it is. You know what? Die, Skelly. Oh, wow, my aim was terrible there. Come on. There we go. All right, so we've got 3 doors in the ready position, as you can see by the lights there, and there. I really got to update my texture pack and get rid of this ugly glass. But anyway, so we've got that, right? So we want to reset all the doors to starting. Master toggle, push to reset starting gates. You press this, and all of the doors switch back to this mode, where the internal gate closed and the external gate open. So if you look now, not ready, and not ready. So then, depending on how many players are playing, you can go around, close however many doors you want, and get in and get ready and go. The other side of it was at the end of the round. If you want to open it up to let everybody in, there's a door override. You pull this, all the doors open. No matter what state they're in, they will all open. And if you see over there, off in the distance, those doors are open, these doors are open, and these doors are open as well. So that, I think that solves the gameplay testing issues we were having. And I'll show you the mechanics of this. So obviously one's a solid switch here, the other one is a toggle. And if we go in here, you'll see these switches lead down to inverse repeaters or downward repeaters here that trigger and run along here. So actually what I'm going to do, if I can not glitch through this door, is demonstrate this. So I'll turn this on, door override. So what does that mean? Well, this signal rides down here, and it rides into this, which is the exterior door, as we've modified it with the inverse and then dropping it down here. So it's completely separate from the normal circuitry. There's no change to the actual circuitry other than this little inverter here, which effectively does the same thing, only it just adds a tick or two. So this ties into here, and then it also ties into the front door mechanism, or the interior door. So then it triggers that door mechanism. Again, separate circuitry. We're not complicating the original circuitry here. This is an entirely separate override switch. And the fact that we inverted this so that this is an off state by default is what we wanted, because we want the door to open on a positive signal. So that way either one of these will open the door. So the default for all these doors is closed. So now we've got that signal. This signal runs along, and it'll split 4 ways. You see it runs down here, repeats, and runs back over, where does it go? Into here, which runs along here, under there, up here, and this one is effectively the exact same circuit, but just from the other direction. So interior door, sorry. Exterior door, this is that same, the block there is that same block. And I gotta fill that in. Alright, I'll just put it like that. Kind of like it that way anyway. And this same circuit gets replicated to the other doors. See, this one goes off into the distance there and comes out over here and up and over to there. Now the other one, the master door reset, is a little different. It still doesn't require a modification to the original circuitry, but I'm just going to turn it on to static here just so that we can trace it. I'm just going to do that, and we're going to see how this works. So first of all, this one goes down here. The first one's a little kludgy. This is an AND gate. What this means is that when the door is open, this redstone up here, which is from that T flip-flop piston, which goes to the... I'll show you. Back up over here. Let's look at this from a more normal perspective. This is that inverter to the exterior door, and this is that T flip-flop we had. But we've got it... when this is lit up, this torch goes off, which turns off this redstone, which turns on that torch, which turns on this. So it's effectively just an inverter, a double inverter, which gives you the same signal down here as is up here. So when that is on, this is on. This is an AND switch. So when we get a momentary signal through here, which is connected to the button, I've got it lit up for now so we can see where it goes. It turns off this torch. And if the switch is on, it switches it off. So what that means is that we're going to only trigger this AND gate, which then the redstone leads in a vertical up to the trigger of the flip-flop. We're only going to trigger the flip-flop if it's in an on position. If it's off, this AND gate still does nothing, as it's doing right now. It's just sitting here, not triggering the AND gate. So we have a single trigger. That button will only flip this if the output is on. And actually, I'll show you where this leads, because this again, it goes and leads out here, and lost some redstone when I made this roof bigger and kind of flooded the area because I didn't finish my redstone before I started construction on the rest of the base. This goes down and comes along each of these sidewalls here into the AND gate. Here, this is a much simpler look to the layout. So you've got the flip-flop here. This design goes down into the AND gate. The output of the AND gate goes back up into the switch for the T flip-flop. So when that signal is on and we get a momentary button switch, this toggles, which turns off the gate, which flips the gates into their not ready mode. So at the end of a round, you can hit that reset button. Clean that up. You can hit the reset button and all the gates, the exterior door will be open, the interior door will be closed, and that light will be turned off, which means you're not ready. So that way that avoids the problem of the first person or the second person entering and being ready opens the interior gates. We don't want that, because then that causes confusion. We had a bunch of false starts earlier today when we were testing this because we didn't have that mechanism to reset the game, which makes sense. I mean, you don't want to have to say, okay, the rule after you're done playing is to go around and open all the doors and make it ready for play. No, you just want to be able to say one thing is like, hit the reset button, it'll work, trust me. So I'm going to now fix that circuit. I didn't really, I had a couple people asking me if I had followed a tutorial for this. To be honest, I didn't. I kind of just figured it out as I went. A lot of it is just kind of working out. This looks really complicated, but the only reason that this is complicated, we're just building, like, these are still just those AND gates that we were talking about back in video number 1 when we were working this out above ground. This isn't complicated in here. This just looks that way because you're wanting to make sure that all these circuits remain isolated. Like, we don't want this one accidentally tying into this one and this one going into this one, etc., etc., etc. It's really straightforward. You just gotta be patient and understand that, you know, you're gonna have a lot of ups and downs when you're routing this much redstone around. The other thing I would recommend for somebody that would be building something like this, don't build it underwater. We put in that river into the area, and I had to rebuild a lot of this over and over again because water, dropped down because it was gravel under the water. Aesthetically, I thought it was cool, and then I get screwed by aesthetics, but whatever. Anyway, just don't build underwater, obviously, with redstone. This is why I've encased this entire thing in stone brick. I always recommend doing this for redstone, because then if you're randomly digging for whatever reason and you come across stone brick, you know that it's something you specifically put in. So, and you know, unless you come across what is it, a dungeon or whatever. So always have a way of marking it, so that way if you're like caving and you come up under this, you're not going to dig through a bunch of redstone trying to get out to the surface world. So I think that pretty much covers it. One thought I did have here was I'm probably going to come in here and oh, I'm sorry, coughing here. I'm going to probably make this shack a little bit wider. I want to put my boxes in here. I also need to extend the fence around here. I got trapped in this building when a creeper showed up at the door, and I had no bow, I had no sword, and I effectively just had to log out because I didn't have a way of not damaging this building. So I just left it alone, came back a little later. Guess also I gotta put, well, I was gonna put windows in there, but you know, since I'm gonna be redoing the exterior of the building, it doesn't really matter. Kawaii Queen has volunteered to create a hotel here, which is going to be basically a large building with a bunch of beds so that we can all either sleep or even just set spawn, which we were doing on this one, except for AJ, who went into the first battle without resetting his spawn and had to run all the way back from his home, you know, hundreds and hundreds of nether meters away. So it was humorous. Well, probably not for him, but you know, for the rest of us, we all laughed. You know, it might have been partly at him and not with him, but you know, that's what happens when you don't reset your spawn. You get laughed at. Anyway, it was so long ago, I can't remember if I had shown anything in there. I'm gonna assume I did. But we think it's pretty balanced. Gonna maybe try it out a little bit more and see. The other thing that as well, if you can avoid building on top of a gigantic cave system, I recommend avoiding that, because I probably put about 60 stacks of cobble, dirt and sand, or not sand, gravel into the floor around, especially around here, just filling in ravines and caves and stuff that I didn't want. We were getting spawns inside of it. Big pain in the butt. But anyway, you think of any other ideas for what I should do with this? I think this is all we're gonna need. I love how I'm thinking, oh, I don't need a control center, and then you start playing it and you realize, yeah, you do need a control center. See, I just did that and nothing happens because all the doors are open. I'm going to leave the emergency hatch here. I still think it's prudent to have this just in case something goes wrong with the circuitry or you get stuck in this state here, where somebody has closed the doors from the outside and you still need to get out. I think that's about it for today. It is now terribly early in the morning and I want to sleep because it's a long weekend. So, thanks for watching.